A bit of maintenance. The sheaves at the bottom of the mast, they kind of disintegrated and everything was seized, and anyway I had to use a big lump hammer to get the stainless steel bar out that holds the pulleys. And gonna go out now. It's been about I think about 8 weeks since the boat's been out, and it's a bit weedy, so we're going to go out now and find a bit of nice clear water, anchor the boat, dive over and scrape the barnacles off and the weed just with a paint scraper. I don't scrub it because if you scrub it, it seems to be addictive. When I put it back on, I always mouse the shackle with some stainless steel mousing wire. Well, I've left the mooring behind. We've got plenty of tide under us at the moment, so I think we're doing about 6 knots out the river. You might be able to see the Gateway Bridge in the background. Well, we go under that, and I think we've got about another 8 miles from there, I think, down the river. There's a picket here, a police boat to keep people away from this oil tanker. It's obviously a supply vessel. Passing the tug wharf. There's 5 tugs in today, which means that there's no ship movements down at Fisherman's Island. Got a fair stockpile of coal here at the moment, so in the next few days I'm sure we're going to get a ship in to take a bit of that away. At the entrance to the river now. Just one container ship in today. Might be something to do with this is the last day of the financial year. Last beacon coming out the river. It's the safe water mark. Still a little bit of tide, but not much. I mowed that out to the end of the Brisbane River Channel, to the fairway mark anyway, and went about 400 metres past and thought, well, there's no wind, and it's kind of 8 nautical miles to Morton Island, which is 2 hours. I'll just sit there. It was at 1 o'clock, and I'll sit there for an hour and see if the wind came up. Anyway, I've waited till 3 o'clock and there's no wind, so I've decided I'm going to Mud Island, which is in front, which is only 2 nautical miles away, and I'm going to anchor there for the night. Not going to push the boat going any further because it's got quite a few barnacles on. It's been in the river for maybe 2 months now, and the props fouled as well, so I was hoping to scrub it today, but find somewhere to go and clean the propeller and scrape a few barnacles off tomorrow. The sun's gone down, and I was quite anchored at Mud Island, and it was very calm, and then all of a sudden when the tide changed, the swell came, so I'm off to Blue Hole now. It's about 5 set off at about 5 o'clock, and it's about an hour and a half journey, I think, over there. It's about 8 nautical miles. Running the engine at 3,000 revs with weed on it and everything else. I'm pushing along at 5.1 knots, my GPS is saying. I left Mud Island last night, and I mowed it over here because to Blue Hole, because I didn't think I'd get a good night's sleep there. I was rolling too much, and met up with Jeremy. Jeremy and I have left Blue Hole and are going between Crab Island and Morton and we're going to Coringal. Yeah, Jeremy's tagging on behind at the moment in Quintessence. We're in about 900 millimeters of water here. We've been down to 800, and it's high tide, and I don't think it gets any lower than 800, hopefully. Well, I'm getting a bit nervous. We've got down to 0.6 is the lowest we got down to, and at the moment, but we're about halfway through now. I think we're kind of pushing it a bit when you get to 0.6, but anyway, we'll that means that there's 0.6 would be about 300 under the boat before I ground. Beautiful day though, coming up to Canberra, and there's a bit of sand over there, and we're going to anchor our boats there, and Jeremy can take his dogs for a walk. Yeah, Jeremy, he's caught up a bit now. Might even be able to zoom in and get him. Keep the camera steady. Yeah, I can relax a bit at the moment. We're in 2.8 of water here. We're in 2.3, but it gets shallow again in a minute. Been through here a few times. Going to head over to some marks over there now, and there's a nice boat there. And just as you're coming out of here, we just got down to, you go from about 2.8 down to 1.4 and 1.3 now, and still rising. And you always think, God almighty, because you just have to go over a sandbank right at the end. I've anchored in Coringal in front of these mangroves here. When the sun comes out and the tide goes down, this is, I reckon, one of the most prettiest spots in the Morton Bay. Well, after getting through the between Crab Island, I'm having a cup of coffee now and cooking a bit of porridge on the stove. So, and then I'll sit and eat it out the pan. The sun's come out, the sandbanks are just drying here, and I'm just going to head off now and go down just over here. You might be able to see in this, I'm not sure. I'm going to go down Black's Gutter and out into the Rouse Channel, and carry on now down towards Amity and find a sandbank to clean the boat on. I'm going to say goodbye, Jeremy. I hope to see you again. I like your windsurfer. Goodbye, dogs. Black's Gutters, I think, it's just in front of us, and when you see the seagulls on the bank there, and it's just drying, it's kind of a good time to go through, I believe, because it means that the sandbank the other side is stopping the swell waves coming in from the sea. Well, I just crossed the bar out of Black's Gutter, and about 300 underneath me. Center of the screen there's Amity. There's a big sandbank here, and you might just be able to see this little this sandbank just all the way along here. I want to jump this sandbank wherever I can. May not get to about a metre of water, because I want to take a shortcut and go basically towards that sand blow on North Stradbroke. Well, we're slowly making our way up the channel. I'm creeping in about 1.5 of water here, along here, trying to stay out the outgoing tide. Well, I haven't scrubbed the boat. I was waiting for some decent weather, and a big rain squall came through freezing, so I thought, no, I'm not going to scrub the boat. So I ended up anchoring at Mayora for the night in about 2 meters of water at low tide. Behind the boat there's a few boats anchored. Looking into the rest of the anchorage into the sun, there's quite a few boats in here. I'd say there'll be about 12 boats. I had a pleasant night and had just had breakfast, which was porridge in a pan and a cup of coffee. But yeah, these winter's days, you know, they're quite cold in the morning, so I'm up the front of the boat here, and I don't get out of bed till I hear the solar fans going. Had a pleasant night though, very calm, just like it is now, flat as a tack. Last night about 4 o'clock I thought, oh bugger it, and I put a wetsuit on and I went and scrubbed the boat, and that was the best thing I did. I finished about 6, got back in, had a hot shower, and I feel a lot better now that's over. The prop was covered in barnacles, and it's been slowing me down, you know. The rest of the boat wasn't too bad. There was a fair few barnacles, scraped those off. Only took about half an hour to do the boat. Took, you know, 10 minutes to do the propeller, and then I just cleaned, you know, I scrubbed around the waterline, and I use spray and wipe from Aldi on the top sides, and you spray that on. It's some uric acid or something, I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, it cleans all the yellow off, and then I just wipe it down and wash it. So I just go right round the waterline twice with the spray, and that's nearly 1 bottle, and then wash it. Anyway, I'm off today to pick my wife up, so I've got to keep the show on the road, and we're going to Coochiemudlo. Which is in that direction over there. Nice Farrier 22 there, going really well. Well, I've had to wait for the Canberra to, it fogs up on these cold days, so I left there, and as soon as it hit the sun, the lens fogged up, but it's all right now. So we're pushing along at 3200 revs, which is pushing me along at 5 knots over the ground and about 6 knots, because I've got about a knot of tide against me. I think I'm just going to keep cracking on all the way to Coochiemudlo, because I expect my wife to ring in a minute, because the sun's out and getting warm, and she's going to say, oh, I want to come to the boat. So I'd like to be there for her. It is going really well. Try and zoom in. Going pretty well, this Farrier. Doing about 5 knots to windward and very light wind. Well, I'm back living the dream. I'm sailing now. Taken me about 8 weeks to get this far. I made a few improvements to the boat. I've kind of tidied up. There's a kind of bit of wood there holding the instruments before, which was a bit of ply, which was the varnish had gone on. I thought, bugger, I have to do something about this, and it took me quite a while. And then I saw some shop fitters throwing out some perspex, so I found that, and they look quite neat, because there's obviously a big hole there where, you know, like it's a 25-year-old boat, so it's probably had 3 sets of instruments in those holes. So anyway, it just tidies it up. I motored past this Farrier 22, and anyway, I got my sails up, and he was about a mile behind me, and he's just caught me up. I'm doing about 3-4 knots, I suppose, and he's doing about 6. just going over a few sandbanks. I've pulled the keel up halfway. I got down to 2 meters of water, so that's nearly touching, so I lifted it up halfway, so I'll draw about 1200 now. But there's not much wind today, so we're okay, and we're on a close reach. Nice little sailing boat coming out. Lovely little boat.
Sorry?
A lovely little boat.
Yeah, yours is pretty snappy too.
Oh yeah, alright.
Where have you been?
Oh, I've only come from Brisbane River. I picked Doreen up again, and we're heading to Peel Island. I asked her if she wanted to go the long way or the short way there, and she said the short way. And the wind is smack on the nose, so we decided with motor. So doing about 5.5 knots with about half a knot of tide against us. How are you going, Doreen? All right?
Yeah. Do you want to go on which side of this black hole?
No, you're all right where you are. Heels up.
Okay. So is that alright, the direction?
Yeah, good. Well, I got my lovely wife on board here, and she's making a salad for us. And we've just anchored at Peel Island. But we're going to up anchor and move away, because over here on one of these boats there's bloody yapping dogs. Here's a nice boat coming in. There's some little gaff rig boats out here, and they're run by Blue Peter Sailing, and they run a sailing school basically, and they come over here and they camp for 2 days, and then they go to Blakely's for 2 days, and it's very popular. There'll be probably 40 people in tents here.
Over there, Simon.
Yeah, Jeremy from Canberra is just in Quintessence, is just coming. He's making his way up the coast, and he's coming to have a cup of coffee with me. It's got a very nice boat. It's a Scorpion 25.
God, Jack would be beside himself.
Hi, I'm Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy. I'm Doreen.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you too.
Show, I keep telling you.
Pardon?
You're the star of the show.
Thank you.
I got to plug you, otherwise you'll never get allowed to go sailing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gertrude?
14. This is Daisy. She's 4.
All right.
We're cruising. And they're pretty good.
Hey?
The handles are really useful. My children had handles.
Okay. There you go, Doreen.
Hold on. I'll just put that down. Hello.
There you go.
What oh, it's probably very shaky.
Yeah, stand up there, Doreen. Up there. Go up
Okay.
there a bit.
Oh,
That's Daisy.
There we go.
hi Daisy.
Gertrude's the old man.
There you go.
Gertrude.
No, you can't go down there. It's too far down. Here we go. There you go.
Oh, I think I missed you.
Her out.
I probably didn't do that very well. I'm chopping heads off. Oh, I shouldn't be talking. I'll be in trouble.
Come here. How are you?
I have an L plater on filming.
They've even got a little map now.
Oh,
Okay.
That's fantastic. They've got little handles on their life jackets.
yeah. No, you couldn't do it without it.
No.
No, don't jump down there. It's like a
Daisy?
suicide mission, that. Come this way. Come and sit down here. Come on. Sit. Sit. Sit.
Oh, missing your head.
Sit.
Simon.
Good dog.
They're,
Sit.
they're very close to the ground, so they really don't think sitting's worthwhile.
Here we go. There you go. Yeah, come on board anyway.
Thank you. Can I pop that?
Yeah, if you want to pass that.
I'm just annoyed trying to swim for it. Rest of it.
All good.
So thank you for giving us a call. That was lovely. I was heading
Simon
around
spotted you and he said, I
That's
think
right.
that's Jeremy.
Come on, dogs, off there.
because I counted 28 boats here.
Yeah, that'd be right. Quite a few. I think last night for Anchorage, I counted almost 40. So
40?
yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
Simon, I don't know how to stop it.
Those blue things.
Sorry.
Not allowed on those blue quills.
I know, I'm good. I just...
Jeremy's off for a fish in his boat, zooming away there. He's going to go around the corner and see if he can catch something.